Everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this special breaking news edition of eNews. For those of you who don't know, my name is Daniel Senner, and I am the Conservation Project Manager for the Methow Conservancy. I'm sitting down here today with our Conservation Director, Jeanne White, to get a behind-the-scenes look at a recent conservation easement project. Welcome, Jeanne.
Hi, Daniel.
I wanted to chat with you today because you just completed a really cool conservation easement project in the shrub steppe uplands between Twisp and Winthrop. Can you tell us a little bit about this project and why it's so important for the valley?
You bet. Yeah, we just closed on a conservation easement on 276 acres. That really is part of two conservation easements that the other one we completed in 2019. The two of those conservation easements together is about 1,300 acres that we protected. This is an area that really takes off from East County Road and heads up into the uplands. This is a view, an iconic view that most of us, as we drive from Winthrop to Twisp, we gaze upon this incredible view almost every day. And it's sort of framed by Caprite, and it provides sort of a real sense of the rural nature of this place and the kind of the glory of the shrub steppe foothills that we have come to love so much. So yeah, for me, this was, I kept, during this whole project, I drive back from Winthrop and Twisp quite a lot. You realize how much you really value these views. And we're seeing such an increase in development pressure that views like these are really worth protecting when we can. The other thing about this project is it provides a really important wildlife corridor from a lot of DFW lands in the uplands on down to the valley floor. This is sort of a movement corridor for our important species like mule deer. And the other pretty cool thing about this project is sharp-tailed grouse are extirpated in the Methow Valley. And this property has one of the last known lek sites for sharp-tailed grouse. So protection of this property leaves the opportunity for reintroduction as a potential option in the future, which is pretty cool.
That's great that all those values have been protected in perpetuity now.
Yeah, that's right.
With those two phases, this project must have taken a number of years to complete. How long has the Conservancy been working on this?
The Conservancy and the Lehman family have really been at this probably since about 2005. We completed two other conservation easements with the family on the valley floor, protecting river habitat area and farmland on the valley floor. And then subsequently working on these two uplands conservation easements.
And how long have you personally been a part of the project?
I've been with the Conservancy since 2009. So I've certainly been involved with John Sunderland's work on this project, but he was the primary project lead until about 2019 when he retired and I took over the Lehman project.
Well, thanks for bringing it to the finish line.
Yeah.
And it must feel good for both sides of the equation to have this recorded and in the rear view mirror, so to speak, as John would say.
Yeah.
Now that it's completed, do you mind sharing with us a few of the key ingredients to making a long-term family vision for land conservation a reality?
Well, I think there's two key ingredients to conservation, and that is a lot of patience. It takes a long time particularly when we are purchasing conservation easements, because to find funding, secure funding, translate that funding into an actual agreement that is then recorded. Any given project takes probably 3 to 5 years.
Mhm.
from start to finish. So the aggregation of all of these easements has taken 17 years, which lots of patience on the landowner side. Um, and the conservancy needs to stick to it and put our resources behind it as well. But the unifying, um, the unifying value of all of this is a love for this place. And the Lehman family, this is really the fruition of their vision of their property, and really comes from their love of this place.
Yeah. Patience is hard work. And I'm curious, in the process of a project like this, do you learn anything new about yourself?
Well, I don't know if I learn anything new so much, but it really does remind me how much I love this place. And sometimes our work is hard. Our work takes a long time, but it's rooted in our love of this place. And so I think we are all we learn that about ourselves every day. We're reminded by that because when work is hard, you have to tap into something other than just showing up for your job. It's really showing up for your job because you love this place.
Yeah, absolutely. And all these projects start with a conversation.
Mm.
And I'm curious if you have any advice for those in the audience who may be thinking about a long-term conservation vision for their property, how they can start a conversation with the Conservancy.
Well, I think that if people have an interest in a conservation easement on their property, it's a great idea to give us a call because we can talk through what a conservation easement is, whether a conservation easement would be appropriate for somebody's land, and then as well, if it's not appropriate, what are some other options as well, that folks can pursue to protect their property or enhance their property. Even if people have small ownerships, and the Conservancy has advocates for just good land management and mindfulness about weeds and native plants and songbirds and mule deer and all of the critters that rely on all of the properties, whether they're small or big.
Absolutely. The Conservancy offers education,
Hmm.
as well as more concrete conservation outcomes.
That's right.
Last question for you here, Jeannie. I would like you to imagine that it's Friday and you just got word from the county that your easement has been successfully recorded. What are you going to do to celebrate the success?
Well, I would say that mostly my desire upon closing a conservation easement is to get outside. And depending on the time of year, this time of year, my what I really enjoy is hiking or biking in the beautiful shrub steppe habitat that we have. That is so it's under pressure from development pressure, but when we really get out and enjoy it, we really see its value. The diversity is pretty incredible, and it's worth protecting. And I love to just go marvel at it at this time of year.
Yeah, the flowers and the birds and the shrub steppe right now are just incredible.
Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
that sounds like a great way to unwind. And I hope that you have many more opportunities to celebrate success in your new role as conservation director for the Conservancy. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me here today. So thanks, Jeannie.
Yeah. Thanks, Daniel. Bye.
Bye.